Hi and welcome back. In this video we're going to perform our last changes to the API, and that's going to involve retrieving the item list. That means we're only going to have a get method, and that get method has to return every row from our database as a dictionary. Remember that, it has to be in JSON format. So what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to copy and paste, and remember, I hate copy and pasting. So you can already see that the next section is going to bring a lot of improvement, because the next section is going to prevent all this copy pasting, which is awful. But nevertheless, so you understand really what's going on behind the scenes, it is useful to have this context every step of the way. And in the next section, we're going to change that and make sure that everything is neat and clean, which is really important. Now, the query is going to just select everything from the items table, because we want to return everything that's on our table. Okay? And the result is going to be the result of executing this query. It doesn't have any parameters, so we're just going to say result equals cursor.execute query. And remember, we can iterate over the result, and that gives us, and what essentially it allows us to go over each of the rows in the table. So we can do for row in result, and here we can do something with each row. Okay? So before the for loop, I'm going to create a variable called items that is going to be an empty list. And here I'm going to do items.append, and I'm going to append a dictionary representing the row, the specific item. You can do that as well. And I'm sure you can just complete this entire endpoint at this point, really. If you want to just pause the video and do it yourself, then by all means do go ahead and do that. But if not, then let's continue. I'm going to append a dictionary representing the item. So that has a name, which is row 0, and a price, which is row 1. And that's it. Then at the end, we're going to not commit because we've not saved anything. We're going to just close, and we're going to return items is items, where items is our list. That's it. Let's go into Postman, and we're going to go over verifying the entire thing. Also, do remember to have your app running, which I wasn't. So I'm going to run it again. There we go. Okay, so the first thing to do is register a user. Let's do that. Remember to check the body to know what you're registering. And the user already exists because, of course, we've not deleted the data, so that's fine. So let's authenticate with the username and password. And that gives us the access token. I'm going to copy that. And now we're going to go over each of these endpoints. We've implemented them all, so they all should work, okay? The first thing I'm going to try is to put a new item. So I'm going to create a piano, for example, and that gives me the price of $17.99. So I can see that a piano costing $17.99 comes back. That's a pretty cheap piano. Wouldn't mind some of that. And now I'm going to change the price to make sure that it does work. And as you can see, the piano costing $20.99 comes back. Okay, this doesn't tell us that the thing is in the database, because as we know, the put endpoint doesn't read the database after writing to it. It just returns the thing that it thinks we wrote. So to verify, we're going to call the get items. And as you can see, we get here a list of items with a piano costing $20.99. Let's make sure that that does work, getting a single item as well. Now I could press send, and this gives me that the signature has expired because these authentication tokens expire after a while. So we have to refresh that. Make sure to have an authorization header that has the value JWT space, and then the thing that we copied. And there we have a piano costing $20.99. Then let's go over to the post endpoint and see if we can create another piano. This time it's going to cost $15.99. And now we get an item with that name already exists, which is what we would expect. So let's create something else, such as a desk. And there we have a desk costing $15.99. Let's call the items endpoint again to see if we get both items. And indeed we do. We get the list of items with 2 dictionaries in it. And let's try the last one, which is to delete. And we're going to delete the piano. And we get item deleted, but once again, we cannot believe this because the delete endpoint always returns that. So what we have to do is get the items again to make sure that they are deleted. And indeed, it is. So that's everything for this video. We have implemented all of our endpoints, making sure to write and read from the database. We've learned a bit of SQL on the way, which really wasn't the objective of this course, because the stuff that we're going to learn in the next section is going to make that slightly obsolete to some extent. But nevertheless, we've learned that creating a simple CRUD API, which, let me tell you, it's the majority of APIs out there, is not difficult. All it requires is for you to have some understanding of requests and saving to a database and committing and returning things back. And then all you have to do is create, read, update, delete, CRUD. And now we've managed to do that. We've also included the very popular sign up and login mechanism. And this one is fairly secure as well. We're going to look into security more later on as well. So hopefully you found this useful. This is going to be the end of this section, and in the next one we're going to look at Flask SQL Alchemy, which is going to make all of this a lot easier. So without further ado, I'm excited to guide you through that, and I'll see you in the next video.